Papua New Guinea, the largest economies among the Pacific Island nations, has been on a roller coaster in the past decade, living through the ups and downs of the commodity cycle to its fullest. The country is now looking ahead with renewed optimism as their commodity prices are bouncing back. And I'm here in London with Mr. Peter O'Neill, who is the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea. Prime Minister, you got big ambitions to diversify the economy away from the resource sectors. Actually, the government is now working on a new set of incentives to promote investment in sectors like agriculture and tourism. Do you want to give us more insights into what will be the opportunity available for investors into these sectors?
Papua New Guinea is renowned for its world-class projects in the resource sector, particularly the mining sector, oil and gas sectors are well developed in our country. But going, as I said earlier, about the boom and bust cycle, because of the ups and downs in the commodity prices, has affected the economy's stable growth that we want to develop in our country. So as a result of that, since taking office about 6 years ago, we have now started developing a strategy to expanding the base of our economy, which means industries like agriculture and tourism become priorities of our government. And as a result of that, we are now giving huge incentives in tax incentives, tax holidays for an extended period of time. All this will be announced over the next few weeks in a much more detail. But agriculture and tourism are the focus of that. And Papua New Guinea government has got huge potentials in both industries. Agriculture, many around the world should know that Papua New Guinea, about 10,000 years ago, it's now a UNESCO-listed site where we have started farming in our country 10,000 years ago. This is well before the pyramids were built in Egypt. So our people were already used to working the land so that they can feed themselves and sustain their livelihoods. Secondly, tourism. We have got amongst the untouched tourism sites around the world, globally. We have the second largest rainforest in the world. We have got sites that are culturally diverse, meaning that we've got 850 different language groupings and 1,000 plus different tribes, which gives rise to a very unique tourism destinations for any tourist in the world. So these are markets that has been untouched, and I think we've got a great opportunity to develop them, and that is why we are now putting up a roadshow in terms of our forums in UK and Europe.
Right, waiting for this program, for these programs to come online. Obviously, the future of the economy, the short and mid-term economic outlook will still depend, heavily rely on the development of a key major projects in the resource sector, particularly in gas and mining. There is a new gas development strategy in the making by the government. Do you want to give what are its main pillars and how will this affect the expansion of the Exxon facility, PNG LNG plant, and also the construction of this other plant by France, Total Papua LNG plant? Yeah.
Well, we have a very good story to tell in the LNG and the resource sector in our country. By far, we have some of the largest globally projects in the world. And to give you an example, in about 2005, 2006, and 2007, especially during the global financial crisis, we were able to raise $19 billion to develop our first LNG project in the country. We delivered that project well before time. We delivered that project under budget, so that we've got a very good track record of a low-cost LNG production in our country. Today, we are delivering even beyond expectations. We are delivering much larger quantities of LNG on our first LNG to markets in Japan, China, and Taiwan. Second LNG project has now been developed by Total and Exxon. Again, we will go to the market, and I know that the market's reception will be quite good, that they will be able to help us finance this development of the second LNG. And we will deliver it at a low cost, and we will deliver it on time as we have done on the first LNG project.
When do you expect this second plant, works at this second plant to start?
We expect an announcement on the front end engineering and design work to commence well before November this year. and the gas agreements to be signed before that. And of course, development will take place over the course of 2019 and 2020. We are expecting first gas exports anywhere between 2021 and 22. And we believe that the market demand for LNG is there and it's growing. When countries like China and South Korea and many of the other economies in the region starting to change the energy configuration from heavy fossil fuel dependency to LNG gas and solar and hydro, and which is a mix that is going to continue to propel the growth of LNG in that market. So I think what we have learned from all this is that we have seen how the resource-rich countries in the region and globally have made mistakes about over-dependency on that. So whatever gains that we are getting out of this particular resources like oil and gas and mining, we are trying to transform the investments into agriculture and tourism that is sustainable for a long period of time. And this is where we have the greatest potential for being the last truly tourism destination in the world. We've got the uniqueness that many of the other countries don't have, culturally and also by the beauty of the location and the sites, tourism sites that we can offer.
Another major project that the government is willing to develop with the private sector is the Wafi-Golpu gold and copper mine by Australian mining company Newcrest Mining. What is the situation there? When could we expect licensing and permits to be issued and constructions to kick off there?
We expect all the mining agreements to be signed well before the end of this year, and construction to start early to late mid next year. We expect this to be a world-class gold and copper mine. In fact, I am told that the reserves are much higher than the estimates that they've indicated to the market, and it'll be truly a world-class. But our aim is to try and make sure that all these developments are environmentally friendly. We have had experience in the past where some of the environmental damage by the projects such as that in other mining companies have affected our communities, and our government wants to develop this in an environmentally friendly way so that we can sustain the delicacy of our own biosystem, biodiversity within our rainforest, and the communities are not affected by the mine itself.
How will you make sure that this will happen?
Well, we want to make sure that they conform to a tailing dams, which are going to manage the waste that's going to come from the mining sectors. Those are preconditions of any agreements that we will sign. And I think the companies are aware of our own expectations, and we look forward to developing this with them in the near future.
Okay, one very last question. These projects will obviously bring over plenty of foreign currency reserves, but at the moment there is a big shortage of foreign currency in the domestic market, and this has hampered down business and the economy as a whole. The government was rumored to be considering external borrowing options like a sovereign bond or like other private credit facilities. So, are you planning to go on with the plan of foreign bond, sovereign bond?
Yes, we are very well advanced in issuing sovereign bond in the coming months. In fact, at present, there's a short list of the lead advisors and managers who are going to manage this process. That has been now going to be announced over the next few weeks, and they will take the offer out to the market in the next few months.
How much money are you willing to raise there?
Anywhere between $500 million to $1 billion, and I think that's something that we can manage quite well. It's a 10-year bond, and we'll see how the market reacts. But on early indications, we've got some very positive response from many of the people who are going to take up the issue, and we will look forward to concluding that very soon.
So you don't expect the downgrade, for example, of Standard & Poor's to affect the market sentiment in a way?
I think, all in all, the slight downgrade from B+ to B is just an indication about the effects of the recent earthquakes in the marketplace, and of course the temporary shortage of foreign currency as hampering growth going forward. That is why there was a little bit of a downgrade. But I think if they take a note of the potential and the upsides that we have coming up in the economy, you will see an economy that is growing at a very steady pace. Despite all the global challenges and downturn in the commodity pricing, our growth has been averaging at about 3% per annum. Globally, that is something not too many countries have got. Papua New Guinea's growth is there, but the report cards always show the worst. And I think despite the slight downgrading, I think the bond issue will be well accepted, and you will see, and we believe there will be an oversubscription of it as well.
Prime Minister O'Neill, thank you for being with us today. Thanks everybody for watching. You can follow our coverage of Papua New Guinea, the Pacific Islands, and Southeast Asia on fdiintelligence.com. Thanks for watching. Thank you.